Hello students, welcome to this lecture. The Independent Ethics Committee, or IEC, that's the abbreviation, or in the United States it's called IRB, that means Institutional Review Board. This makes a crux, a very important cornerstone of clinical research, because ethics is behind everything that we do. So let's dive into it. So what is the main function of the Ethics Committee? It is to protect the subject, his or her rights, safety and well-being. This is a beautiful picture. So the Independent Ethics Committee, or the IRB, will hold the subject, will look after the interests of the subject, and not just the Ethics Committee. Ethics Committee is just one of the institutions which work on it, but all of us, we try to protect the subject. But the Independent Ethics Committee's main function is to look after the rights, safety and well-being of the trial subject. With regards to the Ethics Committee, very special attention is given to vulnerable subjects. Picture is worth 1,000 words, isn't it? So Independent Ethics Committee pays special attention to vulnerable subjects. To understand what the Independent Ethics Committee is, we have to understand what is its composition. So the Ethics Committee, according to GCP, Ethics Committee should have at least 5 members. That's what's laid out in the GCP, or Good Clinical Practice. But every Ethics Committee will have different number of members, but at least it should be 5. So out of these 5 or more members, some of them are medically trained, and some of them will have research background. There will be a lot of members with scientific background, because they need to evaluate the protocol, which is a scientific enterprise. Because if you don't evaluate the protocol, by definition, it cannot be ethical, because there must be some sort of logic behind the study, right? But having only scientific members is not adequate, because ethics is not just about science. It's about our society, our community, our culture. So the GCP, in all its wisdom, said that at least one of the members should be from a non-scientific area, or it should be a lay person, as they call it. So it could be a priest or a monk, a librarian, or whichever, or like a community service person, somebody with some sort of caring attitude towards the society. So there should be at least one person who is from a non-scientific area. The Ethics Committee will be from an institution, right? The GCP says that at least one member should be independent from that site. They should be from the outside. I think that if you put all the members from that institution, the result or the review or their opinions might be biased. So you bring an independent person, like somebody from the outside, right? From outside the hospital or from outside the clinical research institute. So GCP says that at least one member should be independent from that institution or that site. And only members who are independent of the sponsor, that means the clinical trial sponsor, the company which is sponsoring the drug trial, and the investigator, the principal investigator, sub-investigator. So only the members who are independent of the sponsor and the PI or the SI or the investigator can vote on the trial. Right? That makes sense, right? Because let's imagine Professor Dr. P.I. Magnum, or our principal investigator's wife, right? And she might be in the ethics board. So she cannot vote on his trial because it will be biased. In the same manner, let's say the sponsor, somebody who works for the sponsor company, they cannot be part of the ethics committee who is reviewing that particular trial. This is to make sure that the result we get is unbiased. The ethics committee should provide a list of its members. So it's transparent. We know who reviewed the trial. We know their names, we know their backgrounds, and then we can do a check. They are independent of the site, or they are independent of the sponsor, and so on. So it should be transparent, and they should provide a list of its members. So here we have a list of members from the Good Samaritan Ethics Committee. That's the ethics committee that PI Magnum Hospital uses. Good Samaritan Ethics Committee. Membership list dated January 2018. So it gives the list of people who are members of the ethics committee. So we have chairperson Professor Anthony Silva, deputy chair called Dr. Tom Heggs, and we have a lot of lay people. So that means the result we get is really unbiased, right? Because it's not just a scientific enterprise, it's a cultural, it's a society, it's a community thing, right? So the lay people will take care of that. And then that's not all. We also have members with knowledge and current experience in care, counseling, and treatment of people, because this is a medical enterprise. So we need people from that, people with that focus, people who care for patients, right? They can evaluate all the factors affecting the subject. And then also we have members with current research experience relevant to research proposals considered at meetings. So we have expert, like in a law court you call for expert witnesses, right? So protocol and IB, everything is a scientific thing, right? So we have people with expertise in those areas, like scientists and doctors. Members who perform a pastoral care responsibility in the community, priests and people who do social welfare and so on. So there are a lot of people who will think in that, the rights of the patients, their cultural impacts of the clinical trial, what impact will have on society, on their community, and so on. And then finally we have manager of HREC, Beth Cordwell. So this membership list, this is very important. This will be provided with each ethics approval letter, and as a sponsor and as a CRA, we are supposed to collect this membership list, right? So we have it in record. That brings to the end of this section of ethics committee, which is ethics committee composition and primary function. I hope to see you in the next lecture, where we delve deeper into the operations of the ethics committee and submissions and approvals. I look forward to seeing you in the next lecture. Ciao!